Hello, this is Stefano with Stefano's Espresso Care. We have a Rocket R58 that needs to have a pump replaced. In order to get the pump, the steam boiler will need to be entirely removed. I start loosening any pipes. In fact, before you attempt to do so, please take a few pictures for yourself. Back, left, right, whatever picture that will make you then be exactly secure where the pipes are going. Basically, I'm starting from the top. I pre-loosen them just to give it, make it a little quicker on the video. And pretty much everything I see is gonna get out of the way of the boiler. Sometimes loosening them simultaneously on both ends, like I'm doing now, makes the removal easy. If they need to, they are descaled also individually, but I already put some descaler in the boiler, which sometimes they look clean, you let them dry, and no, they are not clean, so they need to be descaled again. But we'll face that later. The temperature probe, it's attached to the control board. I previously disconnected, but is located underneath the ribbon. Right there. That's where the steam temp probe is, and of course the one next to it will be for the brewing. Back to the boiler. Okay, loose. That one is loose, can stay there for now. That one is about to be loose. This one we're just gonna leave it there, should not be in our way. But loosen it enough that we'll have some space to play with it. Like so. At this point in time, the probe is loose, that's loose. Appears that we got everything loosened, and the boiler should be held in place by just these two nuts here. We are about to see. It is actually my first time of removing one of these R58 boilers, so we are doing this live. Okay, so they're not just nuts, they're actually stocks, which means I'm gonna need an Allen head. But let me see if the boiler is actually coming off already. Yes, it is. This is the boiler removal. It's not that complicated, I suppose. Stand by now to get to the pump, and we'll do the second part of this video. Okay, we got the boiler removed, which thought it went pretty easy. Now, to access the pump, I actually removed the gauge just because one less component to be in the way. Simply loosen this nut and then loosening the back nut will allow this bracket to come loose, pull out, and the gauge gets pulled out from the front. So we are setting this aside for now. All the fitting, I've disconnected also the micro switch 2 wires, just same reason to get them out of the way. The pump is held in place by a flange, which you reach from here. I already loosened it, it's just a Phillips screwdriver. And at this point in time, assuming that I can fit my hands and the camera is not in my way, you are pulling out the pump, just like so. It is important, of course, that you pay attention to the positioning of the two fitting, the entry and the exiting one, and reattach them exactly in the same way. So a way that I normally do, I look at them straight, and I'm considering these to be 11 o'clock and this one to be 9 o'clock. That will be the next step. The shaft of the pump actually fell in there, so make sure that your pump, when you replace it, will have the shaft attached. This pump, it is indeed very almost impossible to move by hand, so that was definitely what was causing the issue on this machine. We'll be testing also the capacitor while we are at, since it's a lot easier to access, and we'll go from there. Stand by. As I was mentioning before reassembling the pump, I want to test the capacitor. This one is rated 25 microfarad and reaching the two terminals, you're about 24.7, so yes, we are in the parameter. Important, some of those capacitors can actually hold current, so after you remove the terminals, you might want to try to touch with an insulated to you device and try to touch the wires. I mean, terminal like this. I've seen them, they will actually shock you and spark after removing them when they were still, I guess, with the charge on. Okay, in regard to the pumps, this particular pump is a compact style. This is the difference between a non-compact and a compact one. So if you are ordering one from us or anybody else, make sure you are looking for the compact. We'll put a link eventually. The shaft is removable, as you just noticed that it fell down. So the next step I'll be doing is to reattach the fittings exactly the way that they were on the other pump. And we'll go for there. Okay, we got the motor, the pump reattached to the motor. This style of motor shaft has actually a Phillips head indentation or slot at the end that you can actually twist, and you can tell immediately if you are on the pump or not. Otherwise, the shaft will spin incredibly loose. Now I feel the resistance, and I do feel also, you can hear it, the pump twisting. This point in time, it's time to reassemble. So will be to reposition exactly the pump down. I over-tight a little bit the flange, so I'll be losing it. So you have the bypass access from the bottom of the machine, like so. The pipe are still not tight on the other end, and I'm positioning them as I was saying earlier. First, everything gets positioned finger tight. The gauge now should go in first, and again, to reposition the gauge, remove the bracket, reinsert the gauge from the front, center it of course, make sure you reconnect the wires for the micro switch, the lever micro switch. I loosened the motor bracket as I was saying earlier. It was not necessary, but I decided to do it anyway since it was easier doing it earlier than if I was in the middle of trying to fix it. We're gonna show in a few minutes how to reassemble the rest of the boiler, and for this moment it should be it. Okay, the pump, motor, they are assembled. The wires and the pipette are reconnect in place before I attach the boiler. The boiler is just hanging on this bolt. One thing I noticed is that this motor has a slot on the shaft, so you make sure that you twist this and you feel the resistance, but I think I just say that in the other part of the video, so excuse me for the repetition. Right now, all the fitting, they are finger tight only. Before even attempting to tighten any of them with a wrench, you want to make sure that everything is going to end positioned correctly. Like right now, there is a nut that kind of fell into the back of that pipe, the tube, and we're gonna get it out of there and bring it to the top. Copper pipe are fairly easy to move, just of course don't overdo it in a way that you might kink them or potentially lose the other connection on the other end. Okay, so let's leave this up there. Let's reposition the boiler there. And 5 million something is the same silly pipe. Okay, 1, 2. Center these ones, and again trying to do it in a funny angle, not to cover the camera, which that's something else I need to address in the future. Better way to film videos. I'm sure that there are many ways. Okay, so again, I like to have everything finger tight before using a wrench anywhere. So reposition every single pipe. I remove intentionally the anti-vacuum valve is loose. I remove intentionally the temperature probe because we'll be testing it, cleaning it, wait for the scale to dry also as well out of it, and make sure it is still within the parameter that it should be. Anti-vacuum valve is going to need to be replaced, and again, not use a wrench until you have everything ready. This one are not attached because this valve will need to be rebuilt, as I start to do on the other one. The heating element I'll be waiting for last. Of course, make sure you have every single piece. Don't leave any pipe left around because it's obviously a missing piece. But that's the way pretty much to replace a motor or a pump or a condenser capacitor. Capacitor you should get it without doing all this, but how to address a pump on a R58 Rocket, which by the way is a very nice, well-built machine. Thank you for watching so far.